is going on here? What is happening in the life, in the world, in the youth? All right, let me know when we're live so that way I can go live here. Dude, I love my coffee. Coffee's so good. Oh, we're live. It says filming tips, Holy Chicken Conference shutdowns warranted. I'm fine.
And everything breaks.
Did it break? I hear all kinds of weird static, bro. It's horrible. What's that sound? You don't hear that?
Yeah, I hear it. Okay. This is just the where we let everyone filter in. It's not really important.
Everything's important. Everything is important. All aspects.
Speakers.
All aspects of everything you do every day, from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep. Like, legit. Everything. How come I got ghosts and goblins? You hear that sound? That's the sound of the ghosts and the ghouls and the goblins. Small batch. A great cup of coffee is not great most places. Are we good? Is this what's going on here? Let's see that we are.
Yeah, we're good.
Let's see that we are live.
We're live.
Strive.
I know you said no more freestyling, but I'm kind of getting the urge right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a matter of whether I like it or not. It's
No more freestyling unless we have a professional.
all right.
Okay. Just let it.
Look.
You know, I got this song downloaded, so might as well let it play out. We're not gonna get come at me, YouTube.
Well,
Come
actually,
at me.
you know, as it turns out, last week, you know, they put that copyright claim in. You know, I got it removed, right?
Yeah, I saw that. That was impressive. I didn't think you were gonna do it.
When I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do
It
it.
was that drone video, right? What is it with drones?
It was the most ridiculous copyright thing ever. I mean, the whole copyright thing is out of control now. It's just out of control. Like you said, like I could literally be like humming a tune and be like, "Oh, it's copywritten." I'm like, "Yeah, but it's
Are
my
my words
rendition."
copywritten?
You know,
If I
probably,
recite a poem,
probably somebody probably said what you said and already said it somewhere else, but it just wasn't. It wasn't uploaded to the
roses
net
are
yet.
red. Wait, I already
Like
fucked
if
it
I
up.
like if
Roses
I
are red, violets are blue.
like if I do the sound to the Ghosts and Goblins game, you know, do I hum it? I go do do do.
Wait, is it roses are red, violets are blue?
Yeah, I think
Are
that
violets blue?
violets are violet.
Yeah, that's
But
what
I think
thought.
I think violets. Actually, you know, it's a good question actually, because these are the things that we talk about on
Roses are
this show.
red.
Just so you understand, what are violets?
Yeah, Violets should be violets.
Violet Beauregard. Baudelaire.
Right? Beauregard.
Baudelaire. The Baudelaires.
Are violets blue?
Oh, Violet.
In the gardening world, they use the word blue for any flower that is in the color range of blue and purple. So violets, even though they are purple, are classified as a blue flower.
Interesting.
Oh.
Interesting. So you learn something new every day.
Learn something new.
You know, it's really
about gardening.
It's really crazy. I learned things every day. There's always something I learn, even if it's trivial and ridiculous.
Let's introduce ourselves before we get into it.
I love getting into stuff.
So you are.
So
nobody knows.
Hey guys. Just want to let you know, I'm repping today.
Yeah, you got some cookies.
I'm repping.
Are those cookies
these are
branded?
These are
I'm seeing the can.
You can't see the side. You just see the
if,
cookie. It's all. You just see the cookie.
Generic.
Unbranded cookies. I talk about balance all the time, and I talk about health. And I just let everybody know that I am a pretty healthy person, but I have no problem taking part in the time to time unhealthiness, like this fine cookie. Because I'm gonna put it in my coffee.
The dairy cookie with all the carbs. And
Yeah, some. There's happiness.
I'm ashamed to admit I had a few.
I'm not sure. I have zero shame in my game. Zero.
That's me. The camera's cut off. Let me fix that.
I have zero shame in my game. I think when I was like maybe 17 years old. Maybe, no, probably a little younger. Maybe I was like 15 or 16. I had a little shame in my game. But I don't even play by the same set of rules.
So I'm wearing my my fancy jersey, repping the old country here.
The homeland.
I feel like I can go out there and slide tackle a few fools just on the street.
Dude, I think football.
Knock 'em out.
I don't want to call it soccer. I'll do an injustice. I call it football.
No, we're in America. We can
It's
call
football.
It soccer.
It's football.
Association. Do you know what a soccer stands for? Or is short for?
Soccer too. No, you tell.
A little nugget.
No, I don't know actually.
It's such a weird shortening of a name, but it's association football. And it's like the soccer comes from association. Isn't that weird?
It says
I believe so.
Association football. For now, FIFA.
Is that right? Was that right?
Yeah, but the FA stands for Football Association, but not actually referred
so
to.
So it doesn't make any sense.
Association football is most commonly referred to as soccer.
Yeah, it makes no sense. Football shouldn't be called football because it should be handball. Soccer, football. Football makes sense that you play with your feet. Everyone else in the world calls
it was a diminutive.
But, we've been raised on a certain term because football was already taken up by some sport where people knock each other over and give
that's an
concussions.
American thing. So soccer supposedly was in the mid to late 19th century. That rage amongst public schoolboys to bunger on the end of a butchered word. I'm going to play soccer. They quickly call it soccer.
That's interesting.
How did soccer get its name? So it was a British thing, but
it was.
And then as the other versions evolved, so it included rugby.
They were like, what else can we call it? Because we already have this other sport.
The British do actually some really interesting stuff. They kind of mangle shit sometimes, and sometimes they
not make enemies.
No, but they do. They mangle stuff, and sometimes they put it back together really nicely. It's interesting to me. But because football has been around for like hundreds of years, but for the last 200 years, that was a British thing. The British decided to do that.
Did you kick around before there was anything? Rocks, coconuts, tumbleweeds,
skulls,
human
skulls. Just kicking it around.
I bet they played hockey with skulls and bones.
They probably did at one time. I would say
everything repeats itself. People, maybe you never know what happened and was never recorded. before there was any means to record anything, you know?
Dude,
They probably had certain thoughts that they couldn't
They just
express.
They just drew it on the wall with like berries,
Yeah.
berry juice, and paint from the earth.
You know, like,
It's been
what if there was a system where people could talk to each other magically over distances?
That's called the internet, bro.
I know. But what if like a caveman had that thought and he was just like,
Yeah,
it's impossible. That would require magic.
Yeah,
to be in
but you know what
existence.
though? You know it's funny. You know, you referenced the caveman, and you know, okay, what was it, Alexander Graham Bell and whatever, like, you know, a few other cats around his time era, like discovered the phone, whatever, or came up with the phone. But you had mentioned, like, you know, caveman. You know, so again, I'm not saying it's whatever you believe in, but if you think about higher intelligence, other beings in the fucking universe and the galaxies, we may be fucking cavemen to those people. We're essentially cave people.
Relative,
So yeah, so it's relative. I mean, we talk about it as a joke, like, oh yeah, the cave people 1,000 years. You know, there's probably some ways that these cave people, you want to call them that, whatever, were actually more intelligent and used more common sense than people today. And because let me tell you, dude, common sense is not so common today. It's really not common. It's like you just think about shit, and I mean, is anybody out there who's listening? You could agree with me. There's always, it's probably at least once a day when you're like, what the fuck? I get out. Sometimes I wake up in the morning and I leave the house and I'm just like, did that just happen?
No, I know what you're talking about.
Blows my
I have
mind.
those moments too. I'm like, shit. I just fucking. How could I not realize that thing? I think it's also a consequence of just, well, things always come from a basic principle. And I think just basic principles lined or piled up on top of each other. Like math is the same way. You have a simple equation, but then you put an X in it, and all of a sudden it becomes complicated. And it's just, you have certain patterns that you add on to it. But at the baseline of everything is like a simplicity. And when, like, complexity comes when there's too many things that your brain is like trying to comprehend and pay attention to, that we can only like multitask on so many
that's why I
levels.
think that multitask is bullshit. So years ago, everybody was about the multitask. It's like, oh yeah, multitask. And I think it's fucking bullshit, and I'll tell you why. Just like a computer that are doing things, right, multiple cores and whatever,
RAMs.
you know, the RAM, like, you run out of it, you always have to upgrade. And the thing about it is, humans, we're kind of finite. Like, spiritually, we can all talk about, you know, different things and what we believe. I don't want to go there right now, but the thing is that, you know, we do have like a finite amount of energy in this body. I mean, we have to sleep to recoup energy, right? We have to eat to get energy. We have to, you know, there's always a constant replenishing going on. So it's not like a computer where it's like, oh, let me just pop some more RAM in. Let me just pop some more RAM in, and, you know, and it's just like, oh, just scale. Now you can learn and retain and use and reference, but the object of being able to multitask like a computer, 50 different things, you know, you're not growing arms out the side of your limbs, you know, you don't have an extra, like, you know, 5 fingers and just be counting stuff. And it just, you know, the thing is that we've been conditioned, so many people over the last 20 years have been conditioned to think that multitasking is both advantageous, required, which is even worse, and a sense of achievement. So like all those things have kind of and now, because now you have people who are like, oh, I'm not really good at multitasking, but they do one or two things really fucking well. And that's really and that's really important. And then you put that stress on them. It's like,
100%.
oh, I have to be able to multitask. I have to be able to do this. I have to be able to do that. No, it's not built into some people.
Yeah.
It's just not built in. And even me, at the level that I do, I would say I multitask, but I do, when I start multitasking too much, like I forget stuff, things don't get done effectively or efficiently. I have to build processes in place. Like, it just doesn't pan out. So all those, you know, that's more of like a a corporate mentality, like a
need
corporate
more
monster.
RAM.
Yeah, the corporate monster just kind of juicing people's brains, and it's just like, yes, multitask. You should be multitasking. You should be able to do this, and people burn out because we don't have that extra
People
RAM.
brag about how many things they can take on, and it's interesting. It's like, if you think about the opposite of multitasking, like what do people go to de-stress from the world? Like meditation, right? It's actually you're actually focusing your brain on not thinking about things, and that's essentially what you're saying. It's like we should not try to multitask and like allow our brains to like de-stress, and then when we come out of it, focus on one or two things and not just like spin out, like you said, with so many other things that we have to pay attention
people
to.
stress out. I mean, I'll tell you, dude, like I said, I've been self-employed since like almost 18 years old. I was 17 turning 18, and I have gone through a lot of moments in my life where I was just like, oh, I got to be able to do this. Oh, I have to be able to do that. And I want to be able to do everything. And the thing about it is that it was a concept that was burned in my head. I could be the fucking Superman. And the thing is that you can't be the Superman. You could have a great thought process and share that, and then like it's the old saying, you teach a man to fish, he'll catch some fish. Like it's that simple.
You give a man a fish, he'll be satisfied for the day or something, and
he's gonna eat your shit, and he's gonna keep going.
But if you teach a man to fish, he'll be satisfied for a lifetime.
And the thing is that, I mean, again, like that fisher guy, he was doing a good job fishing. And he was,
like that.
He wasn't trying to he wasn't trying to like build a house while he was fishing. Like he was on this boat trying to do this, or even thinking about building a house while he's trying to fish, because he probably wouldn't be able to pull the trigger the right way. He wanted to like, snag the fish the right way or show people. So you've got to be focused. And, I feel like putting process in place is really kind of important, because you could scale and use others to help you increase bandwidth, but you can't yourself take the bandwidth and put it in yourself and just be like, oh, okay, here's my RAM upgrade. It doesn't work like that. Not now anyway, so like it's just a lot of bullshit. It's like the corporate monster has pushed that into your brain, and people burn out, man. I know people generally, dude, this was years ago too. This is like even 10 plus years ago. People who had multitasking jobs, really high level jobs in the government and even in corporate America, their whole goal is to burn out to like, we're doing all this shit so that way they can make all their money and can do whatever, so that way they can just do simplicity, so they can just live their life. They're like, oh, I'm gonna go open up a macadamia farm in Hawaii. So they did all this stuff, they stressed all this out to go open a macadamia farm. They did all this work, they did all these things, just that way they can just cycle back to doing just one thing. So it's like, well, why did you just do the one thing to begin with? Why? I mean, maybe it wouldn't have been what you wanted, but what you want and what you get in life are two very different things. You could work towards things, but what you actually get is sometimes very, very, very much different than what you think that you paint in your brain.
Yeah.
So
speaking hang on. Yeah, I was gonna try to.
You try?
I needed some alarm sound that tells us to transition.
Alarm sound. So just in case anybody's watching for the first time,
Hang on.
just let you know, don't forget to subscribe on the Facebook. I just said the Facebook. I meant to say on Facebook. And also don't forget to subscribe on youtube.com/my name, David Scarpetta, or just type it Get It Podcast, because once you get this podcast, you won't need to get any other podcast, because this is one of the best podcasts. In fact, it's probably the best podcast
In the world.
In the universe.
The galaxy.
In multiverse. But there's only one. We're speaking, right here, right now. So this universe versus the multiverse, a whole separate scenario. So in case you guys are watching for the first time, don't forget to check out us in the previous episodes, okay? Because we're coming at you guys. And we got a little bit of an interesting format coming. What's with the drum? The
I'm trying to Okay.
He's
anyways,
trying to make music.
That'll.
We'll work on that.
I'm trying to give a transition sound. Anyways,
I'm transitioning.
So basically, I decided to kind of get a little more organized this podcast. So this is the first time that we're pulling out some type of organizational structure. So
I don't know about that. I do a little organization.
So we don't go 2 hours on some random topic.
All these topics are pretty random. It's life topics.
On weenuses, we don't go
life
too
topics.
long on weenuses. So basically, we're gonna do 5 minutes each of 5 business-related aspects or areas. So we got, what have we been learning, teaching since the last podcast, which is usually a week, maybe twice a week we do a podcast. So in between then, what have we been learning, teaching, buying, investing, reading, listening to / watching, thinking about, and building, because we're all about building towards
creating
a great future. And then we've been kind of like tossing around stories every episode, and we could still bring up stories with what we've been thinking about or reading, listening to / watching, but I want one big story to like be the meat of the discussion at the end. We have a few options, but there's one.
Do you think vegans will like that when we talk about the meat?
There's one big story that's been taken over the entire world.
Do you think vegans can comment on vocal meat? Like if you reference meat? If they get offended if like we talk about meat being the main course?
The ones that get really
like how dare you
personal about it and very offended very easily. I think it says more about the person than actual veganism. But I had a question for you. Is this might be a dumb question, but is fish meat?
No dumb questions. What?
Is fish meat?
Absolutely. It's got a heartbeat.
Is it?
Maybe not.
Someone said to me that fish wasn't meat.
Who said that?
Some guy.
Fish wasn't meat.
Some guy.
I just want to
because you have the land animal meat, and then some people are pescatarian, so it like excludes a certain type of
I don't eat red meat. I don't eat really red meat.
I guess that's
that's definitely like meat, red. Bro. Like if anything, it's a part of a living thing, and you like tear into it like a zombie.
Well, plants are meat, except they don't have heartbeats. But
I think I would classify anything with a heartbeat.
Someone said. So I was just trying to get your opinion on it.
How about something with a circulatory system? Maybe if it doesn't even have a heartbeat. Maybe if like a mollusk or something. I don't even know. Does a mollusk have a heartbeat? Of course they do. Does the snail have a heart? It's just this slinky thing.
It's crazy. We say meat, the meat of something. It's like the stuff that's like important. So
obviously, meat must be kind of important. It depends on the kind of meat you eat.
We're already transition sound.
It's great.
I gotta get like a graphic.
Transition sound. Here we go.
Here.
So, what have we been teaching? What have we been learning this week? What have I've learned?
Okay, transition.
So
we'll go 5 minutes each. Oh, this is a good actually segue into what I've been learning and maybe teaching at some point if I get good enough.
Okay.
So I got this
teaching segue music.
Last week I got this guy,
Sampler.
Innovation Launchpad Pro. It's sampler, yes, but it's mainly a controller for Ableton
Controller
software.
sampler.
So it's like you can do some live stuff with it if it worked at this moment. There's a lot of like audio things coming in, so we got a little bit of an issue with playing back, but it's interesting. It's cool. It's fun. At some point, we'll be able to like sample our voices right away, and then be able to play it back and do some crazy stuff on the. There we go. It's working.
It's just awesome.
Yay.
Because I could see it lights up different colors,
and it's fun, man. No, I see what the whole I don't know, the ruckus is around this type of DJ software. And I mean it makes recording easy for artists too, because like if you have an idea, you can just be like, I have an idea, and then you can record it back, play it back, and then you can record the whole song right then, and then you can mix it afterwards, and
Well, I think
And
it's just always more fun because it's buttons. Who doesn't like to press buttons?
And honestly, you don't have
Some people
to,
like to press other
you don't have
people's
to know
buttons.
chords. So basically, you can pre-program it to have 3 notes in the chord, and you don't have to like actually know how to play piano necessarily. And you can make
Well,
it
you
sound
do
really cool.
have to know one thing. You know what that is?
When to stop.
No, actually, well that too. But do you know what what you need to know? What sounds good. Because even if you can't play piano, I mean, the thing about it is people playing music and even establishing instruments.
I know music theory, so you have your bass note. I mean, what do you mean?
I don't
Define
mean-
sounds
okay,
like.
okay,
You,
so-
you can make anything in a certain key sound good.
All right.
I mean, there's
So-
certain
So we'll
there's
roll
certain
it.
formulas that every artist uses.
We'll roll this
hooks
back
and-
all the way back to the caveman day. If I hit some, you know what I'm saying? If you got a beat, right, and you start rocking a beat, and then like people are like, "Oh, that's a good beat," as opposed to something else, right? That didn't sound good. Like if I started smacking like this, right?
Well, there's different
You know,
timbres, different.
Yeah.
different
Well, again, what I'm trying to get at is just like.
music's so boring. Like you don't want
you
want
don't
the same
need to
type of
know
shit,
how
you know?
to officially be in music theory. You don't need to know how to play piano. You just need to know that this shit sounds good. I made this. Okay, this works. This works. Okay, this works. This works. I mean, essentially, yes, I understand establishment of music and the art of music, and there's obviously things that are like chords and C sharp and they're minor scales and beat measures and all kinds of stuff like that.
I love that. That's like the first note that you thought of.
Well,
C sharp.
Well, it's just I used to play guitar I played guitar for years in school, and I learned how to read music. But a lot of the people who were actually better than me in guitar didn't even learn like that. They actually learned by just playing. My dad was like that too. He just like picked it up and was like, "Oh, this sounds good. This sounds good. This sounds good," and then just got good at it. And you know what? It's the same thing. Even in my realm, like my job that I do now didn't even exist 20 years ago. They're like, "What? What is that?" So it just goes to show you that you don't have to know how to do it. You just have to want to do it well.
It's good to. I mean, technology makes it easy for people to make music sound good nowadays. But I think it is good for you to know that. So like, know what you're playing, and know.
Yeah, because
you can think something sounds good. But if you don't know what the notes are and what the chord progressions are, and
well, that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying just
to
get yourself interested in this, you don't, because sometimes I like learning backwards. Actually, I like going from like, oh, I don't know this. I read books back to front. I actually like reading books backwards. Sometimes I go from the middle and then to the front and then into the back. I never read books front to back. And then you know what?
That's like watching a movie backwards.
And you'd be surprised the things you find. And that's dude. You think it's
bro,
you think
it's like
it's
the
nuts.
artist. It's the artist, vision of how he wants the sequential. And actually, this goes to our conversation with the whole. You have something on your nose.
Oh, is it cookies?
Oh wait, is it just shiny?
Is it is it cookies?
I think you just have like a little pimple thing.
Oh no, something on my nose.
Anyways, sorry, I got distracted by your large nose. Italian nose.
Italian.
No, we had
nose.
this conversation at Judy's about the ability for the consumer to choose how they watch certain things and what we can skip in terms of skipping the intro, going from episode to episode. The freedom of doing. You were actually against that, so I'm surprised you're saying it's okay to like read a book at the end when
a
few days ago you're like
no. I said no, okay, but
you're
okay,
like what if I
yes,
want to skip the intro? Like that's totally contradicting.
Well, no, I'm not contradicting. Okay, so the medium was created a certain way. Video was created to paint a certain picture. So when picture books, whatever you want to call them, right, were made to be watched, and they show you, okay, you watch this movie for X amount of time, right, and then it goes to this whole tribulation, this whole thing, right? But when you have a book, the book is given to you open. Some people hand books to you open. Some people hand books to you closed. You could look at the back. You could read the inside. You can thumb through it and be like, this is interesting. So the medium is different. When you watch a movie, you're not given the movie in midway point. There's no easy way to filter and go right to the end. And it's also, it's up to perception. And that's the reason people love books so much. And anybody out there who's seen like movie adaptations of books will agree with me on this. The books have so much, they open to a lot of both suggestion and creative construct. So meaning that like whatever you think in your head in the book is basically what you create. So it kind of paints this mild picture, and then you like in your head you're like, oh, that's so awesome, I can only imagine. And then some director comes along and like, yeah, we're just gonna get the guy from X-Men to play like, you know, the great Gandalf the Grey,
Yeah.
and then that's his.
You lose the picture of what it is in your
exactly.
mind.
So
Yeah.
you're being painted. So it's like it's on the chopping block. But the thing
But
when I
there's
was
still
telling
a
him,
linear story. I mean, I guess it depends on what type.
yeah,
of
but it
book you're
depends on
reading.
what type of book you're reading too, right?
If it's like a,
I mean, if you
more
look at the-
educational, like
I mean, if you look-
narrative, nonfiction book, then yeah.
I mean, if you look at the Bible, right? It's a compilation of stories. You
Yeah.
can genuinely start anywhere in the Bible, if you really wanted to, dude. Even
Yeah,
like
Black Mirror is kind of a
Black Mirror is the same way.
a good example of a visual medium where you can skip and.
I can pick any episode in Black Mirror and be like, oh, this is like a standalone story, but they all
will
correlate.
They reward you though for watching the previous episodes. It's like there'll be certain hints and references to things that happen. So like it's in your in your best interest to watch it. Like you're gonna get more out of it for watching.
Well, yeah, or
the
you can get
previous
more
episodes.
later after you decide to watch it front to front,
Yeah.
front to end.
Anyways, yeah.
But the thing is that this, and when you're referencing, because you open the can of worms, bro.
All right.
Okay.
I'm trying to stay on.
All right, yeah. Well,
time
we're
here.
gonna stay on point. But the thing is that when you had said, well, it's kind of contradictory. I was talking about not enjoying what it's built for. So kids that have to forward through the like intro music, like it's like when I was a kid, I watched the Jetsons. Do 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 do. Jane, his wife, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm singing along, and like now you could just skip the whole introduction, and like the cool thing about it was the music, and then like the whole thing that unfolded. I'm not trying to like not like appreciate the experience, and what I mean is everybody's trying to get to the end of something, and they don't even know why they started at the beginning, and that's what it is. And that's when you can't appreciate the beginning of something, how can you even get to the end? Or you even know where the end is? Is that my segue music? If I may. You should say that after every paragraph I speak.
All right. So I was gonna talk about filming prison, but you go, and then I'll
Okay,
go.
so what
yeah.
I learned this week.
Learned or taught. I
Well,
think so.
I'm not teaching anything right now.
Do you think this is a
guys,
good idea?
I'm teaching things.
Do you think this is a good? Because I
Yeah, I
think it's
didn't.
valuable.
If I didn't
'cause,
think
like,
it was a good idea, I would have told you like before we even started.
I think it's valuable, like, because if you learn something, then you can impart it on other people, and also if you teach it. Actually, the best way that you know you learn something is if you can teach it to someone else, right?
I would.
So
I
it's
would
like-
agree.
So if you could teach what you learned this week, that what you're about to say, then yeah, that's a testament.
Well,
to,
it's also I think just us
well,
talking here and
yeah,
people
yeah,
listening
yeah.
is they're gonna learn something because there's a lot that we've learned while just even talking.
and it's like I noticed that you put very specific things, and I put more like
general.
th-
Well,
like
I'm a
things
very
that you can-
specific person. I like to like get down to the meat. I like to get to the meat. I like to talk about the meat. I like to talk about what's in the meat. I like to talk about exactly what you're eating. Okay, so let's talk about
all
it.
right, let's do
So
it.
what I learned that the coronavirus is for old people. And what I mean by that, so as you know, the coronavirus is just a big topic for the last month and a half, and it's devastating in so many ways, and we'll talk about that later. And the corona, so basically, just so everybody
So
knows,
what does that mean?
so what I mean by that is that essentially the coronavirus is a badass flu that turns into like a pneumonia if not taken care of.
Yeah.
And the thing is like, you know, they keep talking about like, oh, in America anyway, and we don't even talk about China because China just does whatever they want. So the people who die in China, they could have been any age for a multitude of reasons because they didn't get treated at all, and they didn't even probably get a clean bottle of water. So we're not even going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the first world here. So the first world, what? It's a known thing that parts of China are not on the
Parts?
parts of China
Yeah,
are not on the
parts.
first. Okay, so I could say that.
Let's not.
I could say that most of America, depending, I don't whatever your views are, but you have somewhere where you can get somewhat clean water. Even if it's a restaurant, it's not your house. So anyway, so essentially, the virus is killing older people because they get sick and they have a harder time fighting. Their immune system is like older and just rusty, I guess. And basically the flu, and it turns into pneumonia.
On that flu point, though, I think it's like less than 2% of people that are contracted with it. It's not fatal.
Well, it's been high, but that's what I'm trying to say. But that the casualties overseas are higher by like tenfold.
Like more people die from pneumonia and the flu.
Cool.
And I think it is just as dangerous.
Yes, it is just as dangerous.
Systems like during this time of year should be getting flu shots and really.
No, you should not be getting flu shots.
Washing your hands.
Why should I be getting flu shots?
Not touching your face.
So that way, I'm protected from the one strain that's mutated that I've already inhaled. That's good.
Well, I'm just saying, like, the flu is no joke either.
I'm not saying it's a joke, but I'm saying that like you could live past the flu, because if people are like going to some next, and again, it's not that it's not important to stay healthy and clean and be aware. Okay.
How often do you wash your hands?
Oh, dude, probably like a day. Probably like 6 to 8.
Yeah, I was one of those.
I mean, every time I go to the bathroom, right?
If I wash my hands too much, which
is not good either, because you have oils in your hands.
Yeah, and it's like it gets all. You get these what are these called? Like,
you're also washing your hands with the worst water. It's like straight up chlorine. There's actually chlorine in your water. I mean, like in your bath water, like in the water. If you drink from the tap, or you wash your hands, it's like straight up like bleach in the water. So like I can actually smell it. Like sometimes if I turn on the shower,
I don't know.
I could smell it, dude. Yeah, if you have a high sense of smell, you could smell the chlorine in the water.
Maybe it's just the area.
Nah, dude. Well, LA's got shitty water, so I mean. But anyway, the coronavirus is for old people, and vitamin D is your friend. And
wash your hands, don't touch your face.
And what I'm saying with vitamin D is your friend is because a lot of people think, yeah, I need more vitamin D. Dude, I had a birthday a few years ago. I got 13 vials of blood taken. 13 vials. And those 13 vials of blood, I wanted to know like what I was allergic to, if I had high cholesterol, if I had any type of I wanted to know thyroid diseases. I just wanted to know everything, testosterone, the whole nine. And one of the things I got back out of everything was pretty good, but the D was on the floor, bro. It was like through the floor. It was like, he's like, yeah, you need some more vitamin D. And you know what? Sometimes the malaise kicks in, and you'd be surprised how important vitamin D is. And the reason we don't get enough vitamin D anymore is because, one, there's not too many foods that actually provide that at the nutritional level. Because really your body kind of creates it on its own from the sunlight. But we become such a stagnant culture of like administration indoors that we're not running around the fields for like a half an hour a day or even an hour a day. Most people aren't in the sunlight. And the thing about it is like when you're in the sun that you can only extract vitamin D. I think it's from like March, like mid-March to like September, because the angle of the sun isn't intense enough for you to receive the vitamin D correctly. So to be able to synthesize,
go to Australia.
So
you gotta take a trip to Australia.
Well, I mean, if that's what you got to do, but I'm just saying that essentially, a lot of people, you blow me out here, man. So essentially, it's if you stock up on vitamin D, you start taking vitamin D, and you can't just take vitamin D by itself. Everybody's like, oh, I'm just go buy vitamin D. But if you get a vitamin D K2 stack, right, then you level up, like I would say minimum like 5,000 IUs. You'll be in a better shape to be able to fight off the virus. I mean, I've been in rooms where people were sick the entire time and over the course of the last year and a half, and I got a little itchy throat and be like whatever, and then just killed it.
I'm on a pretty good run. I haven't gotten sick in a few years. And
really you'd be surprised, dude. Yeah. It's nutrition, it's nervous system.
Like I was like, I gotta be prepared for Jamaica, but I thought I was for sure gonna get sick on the plane. Yeah, I told you that was like, oh, like the plane was packed, like, and it was hot, and people were coughing. I was like, this is a nightmare. I was at red eye too, so I couldn't sleep. I was like, there's no way I'm getting back home without getting sick. And other people were sick in my crew in Jamaica, and I was like, oh, this is not good. But I was fine, and I think it was just maybe my immune system sort of. I was sick a lot as a kid. I don't know if you were too. But I built up
I was sick more as a kid
very,
because you know why? Because I ate
tolerance.
bad food. I was pumped full of cereal, white bread, and shitty dairy, and like really shitty dairy. And those like things are so, dude. There's so much inflammation. The thing is I talk about, we've talked about this about nutrition, and I don't want to go into whole nutrition level. But the thing is like nutrition is such a big deal. What you put into your body. So whether or not it's like you just don't want to spend the time to do it,
Yeah,
or
we'll
it's
get
an
into
inconvenience. But
some more nutrition stuff. I think both of us have food-related things that we're gonna bring up later. But
but the coronavirus is for old
Yeah.
people, so don't go getting crazy. You don't, I mean, if you want to go out and buy like 20 pounds of rice, 50 pounds of rice, be my guest. But I don't think it's necessary because eventually, even if everybody in the country got it, unless it became some, next level mutation, I think it's just a very vicious. It's a population checker, I guess. For the older people. It's like
I'm playing you out.
it's not.
I'm playing you out.
Okay. Play me out.
You're accepting your Oscar and I'm playing you out because your speech was too long.
All right. What do you? Okay, so we'll go next, even though it's way
That's so
past 5
fun.
minutes.
That's so
It's
fun.
way past 5 minutes.
So yeah, let's get into some business stuff, some investment.
So what are you
stuff.
investing? What are you investing in? What kind of investments do you got?
I'd say this because buying/investing. I think both of us. I mean, for the most part, sometimes we buy for pleasure, but a lot of times it's for, to improve ourselves. Even if you buy stuff like, for, I don't know, like a smoothie machine, one of those bolts. Like it's good because you're investing in making smoothies and health and everything. So all of that in saying, everything I buy, I think improves either what I'm working on or what I'm doing, or my comfort. If I want to like buy a standing desk, I know I'm investing in the future of how I work, and so I'm feeling better. So I think everything that you should be buying, at least, I don't know if you agree with this, should improve some part of your life.
Well, you're investing in yourself.
Yeah, and you're gonna talk more about that.
Yeah.
But what I've been investing in this week, I got a few more. I got some expendable cash, let's say, and I've always
No such thing as expendable cash.
I've been very interested in getting this longer lens, and I didn't tell you, but I'm
My
excited
long lens.
to get it's this, say like telephoto, like it's 70 to 200 millimeter lens that I've always wanted, and I've like, some of the companies that I've been with like have had me use, so I'm familiar with it, and it's just gonna make my level of filmmaking that much better. It's like 2.8 aperture, so I can get that really shallow depth of field, good bokeh in the background. That was
That's your
wait,
timer.
wait,
That's your 5 minutes.
I think that was like
You're
the one
up.
before. Anyways, like it's gonna make what I do better. I'm gonna be able to say like, okay, you want this concert filmed, or you want this event filmed, I can get really up close to whoever the performer is. I can do this job, and I think I just leveled up in that department, Anyways, and then some lighting equipment that I think can be beneficial to what clients want. As far as like LED lighting, it's like I think that it's important to think about that. It's like, and I actually get joy out of going on B&H or going on Adorama camera.
B&H. Oh man, I remember those guys.
And just like, going through like what do I want? Like it's really like exciting that it's something inside me, like it gets pleasure from. It's like, but it's like it's
buying
that,
shit.
like,
Everybody gets pleasure
well,
from buying shit. It's like Christmas all
not
over again.
It's not like fucking toys or video games or whatever. It's like something that I can use to enhance what I do. And
Well, of course, yeah.
and it's like, what are the possibilities that I could do with this? And it's like just fantasizing about like what my rig is gonna be, how I'm gonna like build it out, and like it's really I wouldn't have said that would have pleasured me, a few years ago, but now it's fun and I can do it.
It
So
pleasured
makes
you? Did it tickle your fancy?
Yeah.
Can we just use very
it
like?
tickled my weenus.
It can give you like lots of different innuendos. Tickled your
Anyways,
fancy. Stroked you.
yeah,
stroked you correctly.
So that's basically why I wanted to include this segment. It's because I think you're investing in. When you're buying stuff, you're also investing.
Well, it
in
depends on
yourself.
what you're buying, right? Some people just buy to buy.
Yeah.
Some people buy smart, and it's
Yeah.
and I think you've been buying pretty smart, because I know some of the things that we've done.
Yeah.
Like
sometimes I buy something like I told you I bought the external recorder, like the monitor. I was like, dude, this is gonna like make everything great, and I bought it, and I'm like, shit, I should have not pulled the trigger so fast, because it doesn't record any better than I would be able to get out of my camera. And I thought like it had a certain input to be able to make that happen, but it's like that can't record SDI above 1080p.
And that happens sometimes. That
It's
happens
like
sometimes.
shit.
But it's like dude,
Yeah.
you'd be surprised in the software world. I get that all the time. Where there's like so much new software. It's like, oh, this is gonna make my life great and easy, and then or all the
Yeah.
work that we get, we're gonna be able to do it easier and more
it's maybe,
effective
like,
and happy.
1% better, and
it's just like
or not even better.
well, that's good marketing, bro. I'm glad
Yeah.
to everybody gets taken advantage by the marketing. What can you do? You live and you learn, and that's why we have reviews.
So what have you been investing in?
What have I been investing in? Well, just like you, I invest in myself. And I mean, I could look at like a lot of different things. But like same thing here, where I literally like I kind of segment my investing. So just like anything else, so I'll invest in myself and my tools, whether it be software, whether it be finding a new staff, getting somebody to do something better than the last person. And what I mean by that, you probably wonder, like, what does that really mean? But you'd be surprised. Like, I really don't like people who don't like to do what they do. So I don't like working with those people. And I think recently we just had somebody who left who did not necessarily like what they were doing, but they were trying to find themselves. And I was just like, hey, man, that's cool. That's fine. And then, we just kind of put out a call to the into the wild, a call into the wild for a call into the wild. I don't want to call of the wild. I call into the wild, and I call into the wild to find somebody who loves what they do. And when you like what you do and you find ways to do it better, it just shows in everything that you do. And in business too, like regards to the actual business perspective, like diversification is such a big deal. I was talking about, I think I was speaking with somebody the other day about this, and this is the business perspective of everything, because this is essentially an entrepreneurship and self-improvement business podcast. So one of the things was, how can we got to save more money. We need to save more money. And yes, saving's important, but it's not as important as in focusing on how to make more and how to scale and make more. You can have the same amount of money if you can be working like let's say you work for 15 years and you make incrementally the same amount of money, and you have a stable job, right? And then you get a raise, but the raise is offset by basically you're swapping out for inflation. So even if you get 10%, you're paying 10% more for a bunch of everything in your life. And at that point, you haven't raised yourself. You've got no raise. It's the illusion of a raise. So, and the thing is like, oh, you need to save. And yes, I get it. It's important to have cash and save cash. But at the same time, it's very important to not just save, but find ways to make more from that pool. So from that cash pool, we're like, well, how can I make more? And, obviously, there's a lot of different ways, like the stock market. People talk about the stock market, which is not a good investment right now. Okay, it's just this whole coronavirus thing has kind of spun out of control, basically creating a pseudo recession.
I have a question for you. What do you see the trajectory of that being? When do you see it bouncing back?
I'm an analyst on other sets of data. I'm not a super duper like analyst on the stock market, but I would say that if you got 2 to 3 days, I would say guesstimate 3 days of steady upward trend, even if it's at a half a basis point, 0.5%. I would say that it would be on the up or just stabilized. But right now it's like this. And like one day your whole 401k is like worth 35% less, and the next day it's worth 20%, 10% more. So like it's really unstable. It goes to show you that people are very scared. But the thing is that I kind of predicted this was going to happen in some ways, but I just thought it was going to affect China. And actually, I think I talked about in another podcast that China kind of screwed everybody, including their own people. They're faking it. They're all their exchange, all their ETFs and all of their stocks, and even though they can't do any business, they just basically pumped billions of dollars into the market, and they force people not to be able to sell. And it's like, how can you do that? And they doctored the market, and then their stock market went up. So even though there was nothing being produced, nobody's going to work, nothing's happening, commerce has come to a standing halt. That somehow, some way, that the market went up, and it's like insane to me. So essentially, I feel that right now it's going to be very unstable. Okay, and the whole get in when everybody's getting out type of thing. You just don't know when everybody's getting out because there's no stability right now. And I kind of seen this coming again, but sometimes you don't listen to your inner self. You kind of listen to it, and you're like, oh, maybe this will be like this, and you want it to happen, but you don't look at the signs. Sometimes you need to really look at the signs. Yeah, look at the signs.
Are you looking at the signs?
I'm always looking at the signs.
For what's gonna happen in a few months?
All the signs point me to a recession. How many months it lasts, I have no idea. Could last another 3, 4, or even all the way up to October, November, depending on where we're at. I do definitely think that there's there's a fear mongering thing going on a bit. That's what I'm saying. This virus is for old people.
I agree.
So. But yeah, if you watch us all the time, I'm gonna definitely give you some insight on what I think is going to be good.
Hit that subscribe button.
So
Twitch,
definitely
YouTube, all the things, Facebook.
Always. So, can I continue? With the next one?
Was that? Oh yeah. So, we're gonna transition to reading, listening to, watching. I don't really want to. I'll skip over mine. We can go to yours.
You don't like yours?
Invisible Man. It was good. But I just it was good.
Invisible Man was good.
Everyone's raving about it. I do like it. I do like it. It really has the audience, pushing. What's a good way I could explain it? Like, it really takes some liberties, let's say, with continuity. How certain things are possible to even happen. It disregards certain, scientific. I don't want to get into it and spoil it. It was entertaining. It was very a good horror movie. I enjoyed it, but horrified. It's just be a little more believable when how long it takes to do certain things.
Be a little bit more believable about this invisible man. Come on, if you're gonna make an invisible man, make him, realistic, realistically
I'm just
invisible.
saying, within continuity, within filmmaking standards, you can't have things happen like that. You can't have things happen so conveniently, and I feel like a lot of films do that. They're they have to have this plot point in a movie, so they make something convenient in order for that thing to happen. It's like
People
most
love
movies,
convenience.
that's why most third acts of movies like go downhill. It's like because you need something to happen, and you're writing towards that thing to happen.
Look,
and Invisible Man is based on something.
Look,
I wouldn't show the.
I know. I
label.
didn't mean to.
But
You know how convenient this is? This is a bottle of water. I used to, hundreds of years ago, you'd have to go to a well, and like now I can just sit here with this bottle.
Dude, and that's what I'm
this.
saying. It's like you got to put in the work to make things convenient. Do you know how much work went into, well, I mean, there's also consequences to having that plastic bottle, and I don't use plastic bottles, or I try not to anymore because
I reuse plastic bottles. I will say I do that.
But point being, it's like do the work to have the third act payoff in movies. Anyways, I don't want to go too long on that.
Well,
but
we'll stay invisible.
Let's
so
go
what
to
I watching? Yeah, I
watched. That's interesting, and I actually haven't seen this yet, but I'm very interested to see it. People. Have been
Can I give you the synopsis like you? Yeah, I watched Super Size Me 2. It was good. Holy chicken. No, it was like always. It was very eye opening. So obviously Morgan Spurlock, good old Morgan. I knew somebody in high school named Morgan. I wasn't a big fan of that guy, to be honest with you. So
I love Super Size Me.
So he's pretty funny. Like, I like his candor. He's got a good personality. 30 Days of the Life of, he had this series that was really good. But he did a Super Size Me 2. He did a Holy Chicken, and the whole thing is about him, how 12 or 13 years later he kind of kicked the door down of the big corporation, like the big fast food industry, and then they're like, okay, we'll make it healthy then, and the pretense of how they do everything, of how they make healthy, and he actually goes through the steps of trying to create his own fast food restaurant. Yeah, but it's such a play on itself, man. It's really, really good. And it's like, it shows you the conglomerates and who controls stuff, and it's just it's an eye opener. And, I knew a lot of this stuff already, kind of like I didn't know the super intricacies, but I did kind of know. It's like, dude, like every industry has it. Every industry has their monster, and it has kind of police, and they lock it in. This is no different. I mean, it's really a good watch. I suggest, it's a good show. I can't say anything. Honestly, it's better than Michael Moore shit. Michael Moore stuff is like, it's kind of like, all right, Michael, I get it. He doesn't really, kind of just like sits there like a lummox. I don't really. I feel like.
Well, yeah.
I feel like Morgan Spurlock is more.
Two. I mean, I get that both directors put themselves in the stories, but I would say that there's sort of a subgenre of documentaries where the director or the filmmaker inserts himself into the subject, and has a point to say at the end. There's some documentaries that like have both sides, but Michael Moore is definitely always very one-sided, and I get the feeling that Morgan Spurlock, although I haven't seen a ton of his
he
films,
just kind of puts it out there, I mean,
there is sort of something I feel like that he's saying, like he's putting his opinion, I mean, I think he's trying to prove it, like that's the whole point of why he's like, I'm gonna test how what happens to me if I eat all this crazy amount of burgers for this amount of time, and then like I'm gonna go prove X to see what really happens. And that kind of reminded me of well, actually, have you seen Icarus?
No, I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, but that was basically is that
his movie too?
No, but it's like it has a similar premise, not premise, but like a similar conceit to where he dopes himself and tries to like be one of the best cyclists and see, if the doping.
Dopes himself.
He's like, yeah, if the Russian people can do it, I'm gonna see how much better.
The Russians can do. If the Russians can do it, we can do it.
So he supersized me with all these drugs, and he injects himself and like sees how much better he could be. But like that's the same.
Crazy.
It's like
The show must go on.
You put yourself through this to prove a point, and that's sort of what Morgan Spurlock does, right?
Yeah, he does. I like his style. I like his style. He's very interesting. He's funny. It's good. It's good.
But like,
So
what does he do? Like, so he's.
I don't really want to give it away. You kind of have to watch it. You know, he just kind of exposes the man again.
Does
he
like
clarifies.
Does he eat a lot of chicken?
There's some chicken eating in it. It's definitely very good.
What did you take away? Well, I guess you don't want to spoil it. But like,
I take away. It's just like question all of it. People just don't look at the inside of industries. They just you know. I mean, marketing is a monster. Marketing is. I mean, dude, like I said, if you watch some of my marketing courses or if you take some of my marketing courses, I teach. And again, if anybody's watching this and you want to become a beastly marketer, and I don't usually like throw this out there, but like then follow this shit because there is so much to the marketing persona. People think it's just like one thing or two things. It's really like it's very big pool of like emotional, mental, logical. Like there's so much that goes into the marketing pool that people just don't understand. They just don't understand it. And it starts to make sense when you're like, oh shit. And there's just like marketing marvels that are just pushing this shit out. And it's repetition, repetition, like the guns, repetition. You do repetition, keep doing it. It becomes like your reality. But anyway, I don't want to get too deep on this. So yeah. But anyway, yeah, watch it. Super Size Me 2, Holy Chicken.
Wait, hang on. 5, 4, 3, 2,
Transition.
1.
Am I being beamed off? So
wait,
what have you been pondering?
I'm gonna not talk about the coronavirus because
okay, we
already
talked about it.
sort of
Okay, well,
talked
I
about
want
it,
to talk about.
But I do want to mention Sweet Green. Getting back to the health thing, and we were talking about Well, I guess I thought Holy Chicken was gonna be about health. I haven't seen it, which is why
It
I
is
made
about
an
health.
assumption.
It's about health recognition.
Gotcha.
It's up to you to do what you want.
But yeah, no, I wasn't super familiar with Sweet Green. They have several locations throughout the United States, but I'd eaten there once before and thought it was really good. But I didn't really give it a second thought to where I might want to get like one of their rewards app or whatever. But I heard the founder talk on this other podcast. I don't know, should I plug it or is that a bad thing to do?
I feel like if we do it right now, we're gonna have a problem.
So yeah, he had the founder, very smart guy. Wanted to sort of change the way that we, because it is fast food in a sense. Well, it depends on how you classify fast food, but it's like, once you can make your order on the app basically or order ahead and it's there. It's not like a sit down restaurant style. It's like you can pick it up, but it's like they organically source all these ingredients locally. There's a big sign like right in the store on the side that says where every ingredient comes from. Every single ingredient on the menu, it says like it's from here, Orange County, California. And so it's like cool to like see. It's like they don't use anything else. They don't use anything that you can't pronounce. It's all up on that wall. And it's like, and they basically, their menu changes every season depending on like what's good
and it should
goodly
and it
properly
should.
grown at that time. And they have like sweet potatoes now. There was like a Japanese sweet potato or something like that. It was like really
the sweetest of potatoes.
really good stuff. They have kelp, they have
little seaweed, does the body good.
A lot of good stuff, and even their dressings are pretty healthy. And just the way that I signed up for the app after I listened to the podcast, so that probably got me to like make that first step. And then I started using it, and they have this reward system to where if you buy a certain amount of meals, you can get the next one free. Not a new thing.
Retention marketing.
Not a new thing, yeah. But it hooked me. It's like now I get it multiple times a week. It's like relatively affordable for what you're getting and where we're living.
Hey, this is not as cheap as $2 for a hamburger.
We're not sponsored by Sweet Green, but I just want to shout them out. I think more places should do that because like every night I'm thinking like, okay, if I don't make something like and I go out and get something like, what are my options that are healthy? At least where around where I am, it's like you have to spend a fortune to if you want to go to a restaurant, but there's no really option like that. So I don't know. Just wanted to shout him out.
Sounds pretty sweet to me.
Yeah, it's a sweet deal.
Sweet deal.
So they got me in their basket of.
You want to hear what I've been
of
you want to hear? It sounds sweet
greens.
to some people and not to others. What I've been thinking about. This is the pondering point.
Oh yeah, let's. Oh my God, I don't know what's happening. Anyways, yeah. So moving on to what we've been thinking about, what we've been pondering.
I think about a lot of crazy shit. Just want everybody to know that in advance. But this is one of the things out there, and I want to hear maybe if you know anybody. So I don't know what the age bracket right now. We don't have enough data back to see like what the age of people watching this is. But if you know anybody this age and older, feel free to chime in and see if they know. I wonder, and I'll tell you why I've been wondering about this. I wonder if people over 65 have sex. And, okay, now, you're probably saying, like, maybe they do. People over 60, maybe even 63, right? 63 to 65 range, if they have sex, and do they enjoy it? That's the ticket. Do they enjoy it? Both the man or the woman. I feel like that's like it's kind of like an undercover thing. It's just like, yeah, my parents have sex. Oh, and nobody wants to think that it's disgusting, right? Everybody's like, ugh, right? But the thing is that do like people over 65 in that age bracket, 63 to 65, really? Do they have sex? How like is it something that's common and we're unbeknownst to us? And do they genuinely like it? Because you know how women go through like menopause, dudes can't get it up anymore. And I was watching the other day, because I love this show, and they brought it back, Curb Your Enthusiasm, on it with Larry David. And they brought it back, and I was watching it, and they're like,
who? Larry David?
What? Larry David.
Oh. That's where okay.
Yeah, so
yeah,
so
no,
the comedian.
I interviewed him.
You interviewed Larry David?
Yeah, right? Isn't that
the old
guy,
white
yeah.
Jewish guy?
Yeah, for that Nat King Cole thing, remember?
I don't know. I didn't
show
see
you that video.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyways, he's a funny dude, yeah.
So, like,
did he have his own talk show?
No. He has his own show called Curb Your Enthusiasm. He's the co-writer, co-producer of Seinfeld. I don't know if it's the same guy. Maybe he's got two first names, and I can imagine.
Oh, no. I was thinking of someone else. Sorry. Fuck.
Yeah. So the thing is that like I was watching him, and then like a lot of the stuff is like he's divorced from his wife now, and he's on the lookout, and he's trying to have sex with women, and I'm like, this guy. I mean, he looks like he's in his mid to late 60s, but he's actually in his 70s. Like realistic, like actually, he's like I think he's like 72 or 73, but he's always looked kind of old. And I wonder if he really does have sex. And does he enjoy it? And is it hard for him? Like that's a whole age bracket because everybody's old in that show too. Like all like the co-stars, they're all like in the late 50s, early 60s. Not Rob Schneider. I forgot the other comedy name. It's another dude. Anyway, there's a bunch of old guys, and they're all doing old guy stuff. And they're all doing old guy stuff, and then like they all are trying to like woo these women who are like 40s, 50s. Mid 50s. The question is do they like to are they having sex and do they like it? Do you ever think about that?
It?
They really want it? Is it just a thing for the show?
I don't know. I'm sure there's biologically you still get
but do you know anybody? How old are your parents?
They're actually pretty like older for my age. They're in early 60s.
Do you know if they have sex?
No, I don't.
You see his face. He's like, I don't even want to think about it. See, that's the problem. Like, because we don't really know, because we're not in that bracket. I do know a few guys who are older.
Just pop some Viagra and you're good.
Yeah, no, dude, it's not like that. And I do know, I do business with some people who are older.
Like to have, yes.
I do business with some people who are older, okay, who are in their 60s, and they tell me they have girlfriends or whatever, like their wives, but I don't know if they're really having sex like the way we have sex, or we want to have sex.
Bernie Sanders having sex? Or?
We're gonna stop all this right now, and we're just gonna drop our pants on Super Tuesday. That's what today is, but I totally forgot it was Super Tuesday. It's just gonna stop. We're just gonna stop and drop our pants. That's it. Fucking guy. I actually liked him at one time, like for a little bit. I was like, this guy's kind of spicy. But then like when he lost to well, first of all, he just bent over to like Hillary. It's like I don't even know why, like Hillary was, like if it was between him and Hillary and the Democratic Party, like it should have been him. But it just he just rolled out of, I'm just gonna roll over.
No, I think this is the
I heard if you yell and you're old and your eyes bug out of your head, you should be voted for.
I think he was being smart. Like the projections were,
He wasn't being
favored
smart.
for
no,
her.
No, she was just the talk of the town. But nobody wanted her to be president. Nobody wanted her to be president. Nobody wanted her, and she was so arrogant.
I know a lot of people.
Yeah, you know what? I get it. You wanted the first female president, but I didn't want her to be the first female president. If I'm gonna get a female president, I do not want it to. She already ran the country.
Right, with Bill.
She already got her shot, man. You don't think that she's like up on Bill and tell him like, "Oh, my wife is asking me a question. Oh, what do you want me to do?" And it's just like you could just everything, dude. The Clinton Foundation. I don't even want to get me started on all this nonsense. But the thing is that like realistically, that Bernie should have probably had been in there and not buckled over. And then all of a sudden, no, I'm just
talking about sex.
I don't know, because I'm talking about old guys. You said Bernie Sanders having sex.
Yeah.
Does Bernie have sex? Can we get an interview with him? I know Sacha Baron Cohen got one. Can we get an interview with him and ask him about sex? Because that's a big deal. Because it's like everything's a big deal now. Because that's like the thing that's out in the woodwork, right? Like if you've been exploited in any way publicly, it's always about sex. It's about sex.
Yeah,
and it's like you can't say that S word. Oh, it's so scandalous sex. And it's just like it's always the sex thing, dude. You know what? Who gives a shit? We know that you're old and maybe you're horny, and then like you still
have power,
and you have power. It's like how many years? 10, 15, 20, 25. And keep repeating the same shit. It's like, come on, dude. Just let us in. Do you really want to do it? Do you need to do it? Do you think in your head that maybe like you're really just nobody wants to juice your grape anymore?
Juice your grapes. That's actually, I've never heard of that one, but I like it.
I just made it up.
I like it. Juice your grapes. Make some wine.
It's time to dine some wine.
Anyway, I think we went a little long on that.
Yeah, but everybody wants to. Everybody can tell me. I want to hear.
Wow, actually, damn, I think this formula is actually making it longer rather than shorter. So we have our last segment is about what we're building, and I thought this could kind of be, very like ephemeral, like very like inspirational, like end on a like we're building towards an amazing bright future, all political and shit. But I don't know. On second thought, we'd kind of be reiterating certain things that we've been saying before.
Yeah, what we're doing. Yeah, but we're building.
Building brands. I guess as more of like a macro view of things.
Yes. Building profiles, building brands, building building each other. That's what we're doing here.
By juicing grapes.
Juicing that 65-year-old grape. 65-plus-year-old.
If you didn't have kids and you wanted kids.
If I was 65, I'd be like, you'd be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
In a vial and.
I wouldn't be surprised. This craziest shit has happened. I see stuff like this all the time.
Well, it's like they always say that women have to worry about getting older rather than men.
Yeah, but men have to worry about being old and not being able to fucking like take their kid anywhere, or just like even like run down in a parking lot. We're like, oh, I can't get out of the car.
I feel like it's gonna
when
be
I was a kid, my dad would go snow tubing with me and like do stuff. I mean, if I was turning like 17 now, and his age, and he was like 70, you know, like, would he be able to play handball? I mean, some of these really good things, and like, yeah, I guess if you didn't have children and you know you just want to have kids, but it's gonna be. I feel like the connection points are very rough. That's why I think that anybody over, like, I'd say 20 years.
Toss the ball to me, Dad.
Anybody more than a 20 to 25 year like relationship difference in age, there's like nothing in common. This life has totally changed. That's why when I see people who are like in their 60s and they're dating girls in their 30s, I'm just like, yo, what is this guy doing with his old grapes? What's he doing? What is he gonna talk about with her? Unless he's really trendy, and you know, I mean, it can happen now. I mean, people can stay up to it, but I can guarantee you this shit that I don't know, like some 18-year-old girl is gonna come about. So feel like, I'm like, what did you just say? Like, what is up? I make references to your ass. And you know, okay, we got some outro. That's outro, bro. So
anyways,
so yes, so we're building you. And listen, if you want to continue to build, this is what you guys need to do.
You have software as a service. I don't know if you want to talk about that. I feel like that's a bigger topic.
Well, yeah, I mean, we could just plug that, and I'm gonna talk about that more. If you guys listen, if anybody's watching this for the first time, okay, and you want to make more, okay, like I talked about this earlier. Okay, it's not just about saving money. It's about taking the money and ways that you need to be able to grow it. Okay, just saving money isn't going to get you out of your problems. Okay, being able to grow that's always the solution. Growing physically, mentally, financially, you've got to always be growing. Okay, and you know, and I'm building some software as a service. I teach digital marketing. So if you haven't watched this before, then follow me on these channels and other channels. Just seek me out.
You know where you can follow me.
Yeah. This guy, too. These guys have been learning a ton of stuff. TikTok. You TikToking? Are you really?
I'm talking to Oh, wait. I know something to pull up. Go talk about stuff. I'm going to look this up. Hang on one sec.
What? So if you're, if you're looking to grow your brand, your business, you know, just keep watching, man. You know, I'm not gonna try to sell you anything that you don't need. All right, and I'm just gonna tell you exactly what I did. I'm gonna show you exactly what I did, and believe me, I've been doing it for a long time, and I got this. That's what I got handed. Got handed that. So if I could do it, you could do it. And it's just going to get worse, you know? So now is the time, especially now with this lockdown, the whole coronavirus thing, everybody's canceling events. And so you need to be able to be more self-sufficient in this realm on your own. And I could show you how to do that. So, but you got to apply yourself a little less, Call of Duty.
Okay. Speaking about coronavirus.
What is? Oh Jesus! I think I've seen this.
Dude, this is, and we might. I'm just gonna risk copyright strikes for playing this because it's so good. And did you watch John Oliver's thing about the coronavirus? No. It's pretty funny too. But he was talking about what's a good way to
keep yourself busy
to promote hygiene in light of the COVID-19. Check this out.
About Dickens?
It's catchy, man. It's Dude, that bangs, man.
I don't think they did the
that
song.
bounces.
I don't think they did the song.
That
I just think it's
that's
just
fire,
two
man. It's such
Vietnamese
TikTok.
kids
It's like this thing went viral, man. It's like
washing their hands.
It's like they're dabbing, and I find it kind of funny that they're actually, they're making this, they're doing this dance
I feel like that should have been done.
about like cleanliness and washing your hands and not touching
That
your
should
face.
be served
Look,
to 5-year-olds.
They're actually, where is it? Where is it? Dude, they're touching their face in the dance.
Yeah, but I guess they want to
They're
wash your
touching their
teeth,
orifices.
or is that supposed to be the mask?
Dude, the
you're
dance
wearing?
promotes touching your face. Yeah. Other than that, I think it's
I mean, I
funny.
feel like that
It's
should have
pretty
been
funny.
thrown. It should have been thrown out
pretty-
to
it's
5.
catchy,
It
dude.
should have been
It's
thrown out to
catchy.
5-year-olds.
It's fucking.
They should
that
put on
fucking
that Dora the
bangs, man.
Explorer.
That fucking bang. Just in the club, just like.
I mean, the
here
track
we
is
go.
good. Yeah, they didn't make the track.
Look at that. That's something that Cardi B would.
Do you think Cardi B would dance like that? Though I gotta give that kid
shit
props.
is- Dude,
I'm gonna give props.
wash your hands. You wash the back of your hands. Wash every single part of your hands.
And then sneeze on
and then,
people.
And then dry it and then dry them. And then you gotta dry them. I don't know what the fuck that is. I don't know what they're telling them. Fly away. And then
What happens?
then you gotta
what
dab
happens
a
after
few
you?
times
What
and-
happens after you wash all those parts, and then some guy just fucking sneezes on your fucking on you? Good night,
Anyways.
hand washing. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We're gonna wrap it up. Wrap it up, Box.
yeah, we didn't talk about our last story.
Yeah,
Our
we're
big-
gonna
our
save it
big
for next
story.
time. We got to save it for next time. Listen, we can't
Well, no,
give you
it's-
everything
it's,
all the time.
I just want to, because
Yeah.
the story's gonna be obsolete.
It's kind of
Because like GDC's canceled.
everything's
like
canceled. Coronavirus is taking over. It's over.
It's,
Everybody,
yeah, I just
Go
wanna,
buy some rice.
I wanna bookend this.
go buy some rice.
By
Eat vegetables.
just I want to ask
Break
you
out
ask you
Monopoly.
one final question though. It's like, is this justified? Like, is it warranted? For all
Yes,
these
you should be
things to
canceling these fucking things, because you should be canceling these fucking events, because a lot of these people, all right?
But this is
Am
money
I being,
on the floor.
listen, doesn't make a
It's like
difference
you could-
because they're coming from China, dude. They're coming from the homeland of the disease at the moment. A lot of these guys get here and they're like,
So
they
you think
got
all
here.
public events with people should be canceled?
A lot of this stuff, import,
sports
export,
games,
import, export,
any
yeah.
type of
But a lot of these business meetings are
communal-
from like people like all
and you
over
could
the
still
world.
you could
A
still
lot
do
of-
these like
like the last
electronically.
thing was Iran.
virtually.
Iran was somebody was in New York. They contracted the virus because they were coming back from Iran. So like, how does that even? You know what I'm saying? So like, you gotta kind of be smart
So
about
where's
it.
that line though? Can you have gatherings? Like, what's the limit to the gathering? Is it just like because it's a worldwide, people from everywhere are coming?
Yeah,
Can you have gathering? Can we have a gathering with 20 people?
I think
30,
if you know the
50,
20 people where you've been
100?
around, I think it's just you gotta lay low for a little bit. That's why I'm saying the recession is real. This is a real thing, and you shouldn't be investing in anything other than.
So are you? I mean, are
cash
you
reserves.
avoiding going out to public places or?
Oh
like,
yeah,
what's your,
I've already done that. Absolutely.
really?
Yeah.
Like, what about restaurants too?
Not restaurants, but I'm very particular when I see people sneezing and coughing.
You know, it's
or,
funny.
like,
I
walk
noticed.
away. I will.
At certain Chinese or like Asian restaurants that I walk by, I'm like, and I don't know if this is just coincidence, but like I'm seeing like less people like coming during certain times.
Yeah, I mean.
and I feel like that's not warranted though. It's like
Yeah, but you don't.
you're like
know.
generalize. You're just like, oh, all Asian.
Not saying all Asians.
all Asian, restaurants like are yeah. It's
Listen,
like,
you go to
that's fucked
PF
up.
Chang's, I think you'll be all right. If you're going into like the heart of of a very Asian neighborhood, like highly concentrated Asian neighborhood, and a lot of I have a friend who used he still works there, but he works. And anytime he got sick, he would just wear a mask. Or if anybody else got sick in the building, it was just like customary for him to wear a mask. He had this like cool custom mask, but he would just rock the mask. And you know what? I don't care whether or not you have the virus or not, but if you're running around with a fucking face mask, like it's a little off-putting, right? It's a little off-putting.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Well-
oh, should I be here?
well, it's like they're-
this guy. I actually rather wear that.
Hang on.
Looks like
Well,
Melina from
we'll
Mortal
end
Kombat.
with this. We'll end with this because I feel that this is super funny. But I think, at least it's customary in Asian cultures to wear a mask, even if you just have a regular cold. And it's good to know rather than people just coughing like out in the open.
Well, yeah, I get that, but you know what? It's not as effective as they think. And
Well,
as
it's
the study's
not.
been done,
It's
there's like
not,
a
yeah.
special mask made by 3M.
It's not, but okay,
That
that person's
has-
sick. I should maybe stay away from. At least there's like a signal.
Yeah,
for
but
you
if
to,
you're
like,
in public and you're walking around doing whatever you're doing,
just hold your breath.
I just hold your breath. I could do that underwater if I wanted to. That's
It's
that's what I'm saying. It's not. It's just because. Not because it's just because he's a mask, yeah, he'd be all right. No,
Anyways.
you're not, and the
This
guy
is
could have
pretty
been wiping
funny,
his
though.
ass like 5 minutes ago and forgot to wash his hands. Forgot to wash his hands, like.
I hope we don't get copyrighted for that. We probably will.
Well, that's
but
all right.
it
We'll
was
fight
worth
it. But anyway, listen, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Tune in. Subscribe.
Yes,
Fight the
indeed.
good fight. Learn, earn, and make your life what you want it to be. All right, guys. We'll talk to you guys next time. Hopefully, we'll get that sample working. Sample life. All right. Fight the good fight. Peace.
Whoops.
Oh.
I forgot I had. Copyright this. YouTube. This is original. Is anyone still watching? Please comment if you are. This podcast is done, but I'm just here.